Welcome to Our Devil. Today we are taking a look at r/am I the antagonist. Our first story is from Exotic Ice 8239. Am I the antagonist for kicking out my daughter after she pawned a family heirloom? I have 3 daughters. Lucy, female 21. Diane, female 17, and Rosa, female 15. Their father, my husband, unfortunately passed away in a work accident 11 years ago. We were all devastated and it was a terrible shock. We were able to get by with my parents helping out with the kids so that I could work. We're doing much better now financially. However, I've been having a lot of problems with Lucy. Not long after she turned 18 and finished school, she's suddenly gone off the rails. Is mingling with some very sketchy people and I don't know what to do with her. She's gotten into heavy smoking cigarettes and weed. Partying at every opportunity. Getting drunk every day, and I suspect she's been doing hard drugs. She started treating the house like a B&B and is very disrespectful to me and her sisters. I didn't raise her to act like this and I'm at my wit's end. I've tried to get her into rehab and therapy but she just refuses to go and gets very angry when I bring it up. Lucy stays with us rent-free. She works a job in retail and buys her own groceries but blows the rest of her income. The last straw for me was something that happened 3 weeks ago. Diane and Rosa have pieces of very expensive jewelry that they inherited from their dad's mother after she passed away last year. The jewelry had been in the family for generations. Whilst they were at school, their pieces of jewelry went missing from their rooms. Diane and Rosa were incredibly upset when they noticed the jewelry was missing. I asked Lucy if she knew what happened to the jewelry. Lucy lied and said she didn't know. I pressed the issue and pointed out that she went partying and spent loads of money. And Lucy eventually admitted that she stole the jewelry and pawned it. Even though it was kind of obvious that it was Lucy. I was still shocked that she would do something like that. I told Lucy that this is it. And that I'm kicking her out. I told her that she needs to be out in 3 days. I didn't think it was fair on Diane and Rosa to keep someone like Lucy around when she keeps causing chaos and destruction in our home. And I was also worried about Diane and Rosa being influenced by her. Lucy left the next day and went to go stay with my parents, who are saying I'm a horrible mother for kicking Lucy out and that I'm clearly playing favorites. Am I the antagonist? Comment by Just for Lols. Not the antagonist. But please file a police report so they can help you recover the items. Call around to pawn shops and try to track down the stolen items. Comment by Careful Bumblebee 10. Not the antagonist. This is addict behavior and you've acted accordingly. Your parents are about to find out firsthand about it. You're doing the right thing for your younger daughters and yourself. As for the jewelry, have you considered filing a police report and going to the pawn shop to get it back? I'm pretty sure they legally can't sell something if it's stolen. It would of course mean potentially getting your daughter in legal trouble. But that isn't necessarily a bad thing either. Comment by Flyover Hangover. Not the antagonist. Your daughter has some things to figure out. Maybe she will. Maybe she won't. But ultimately you still have 2 other non-destructive children to prioritize and care for. She's 21. And while you'll always be her mom, she's an adult and responsible for who she wants to be, where she wants to go, and what she wants to do. Meanwhile, you have actual minors to worry about. Our next story is from Virgin Marriage. Am I the antagonist for giving a hard task to an autistic girl? I am 20 years old and currently attending college. In one of my classes there is a girl on the autism spectrum. I'll call her Melissa. I had never interacted much with her, but recently we ended up in a group project together. Our group divided itself into duos to do each part of our project and I ended up with Melissa. Another member of our group told me to only give Melissa the easy tasks due to her condition. Not wanting any trouble, I went along with it and gave her only the easy tasks. We were working in the library and she very quickly finished her job. I was still working. A couple minutes pass and she mustered all her courage to ask one simple question. I already finished here. Can I help you? I tried telling her I could handle it on my own, but a few minutes of silence later she talked again. I don't like group projects. Every time the group never lets me participate properly. Like I am incapable. It upsets me. Her expression was blank as she said it, but she was Well, clearly upset. I empathized with her at that moment. It must be frustrating to be treated as lesser because of the way you were born. I then asked for her help and passed some tasks on to her. Although her expression was blank, I felt like her eyes were sparking with joy. So with her participation we ended things much faster. The next day we submitted our part of the project to the group and they got mad at me for giving her a hard task she couldn't fulfill. They called me selfish and cold-hearted, although Melissa clearly wanted to participate. Am I the antagonist? Comment by Halfway Gone Too. Melissa is attending college. Melissa passed the exact same entrance boards that you and everyone else did in order to get into that college. This means that she is perfectly capable of doing the work necessary to get a degree. If she couldn't, she wouldn't have passed the entrance boards. It seems to me that you're the only one of her classmates that has looked past her autism and allowed her to be an actual student. You're the only one of her classmates that has allowed Melissa to determine what her limitations are and not forcing limitations on her. So no. Comment by Fun Computer 8401. Not the antagonist from your post. It seems that she did fulfill the tasks you gave her. Also, it doesn't seem like she felt overwhelmed. From what you said, she asked for more tasks and was happy to do them/did them efficiently. Comment by Chef Boyardee Jr. Not the antagonist. Who the hell are these random people to tell Melissa or you what her limitations are? This is ableism at its absolute worst. She vocalized to you that their type of behavior bothers her and told you herself what she believed she could accomplish. And it sounds like she did a fine job. Our next story is from Plenty Limit 2874. Am I the antagonist for suggesting my stepdaughter is overreacting over her milk? My wife and I, both 40, have a kid each from previous relationships. Mine is Connor, 18 male, and hers is Sasha, 16 female. My son has a girlfriend, Hannah, 17 female, and both her and Sasha are lactose intolerant. Sasha spends half the month with us, so we always have normal and lactose-free milk. I'll admit, Sasha's milk is quite expensive because she only likes certain kind that she can also drinks alone and not with just coffees or smoothies. Now the issue is, Hannah spends almost 3 to 4 days here and my wife and I don't mind at all. But Sasha has complained several times that Hannah drinks her milk as fuel during those days and barely leaves anything for her. We go to the supermarket every 2 weeks. Sasha can go to any nearby store and get more. Though not the one she likes, and has asked us to either buy gallon for her only and one for Hannah or tell her to go buy her own milk. My wife decided to just buy Sasha a small fridge to keep in her room so she can store her milk and other things there, which I find very disrespectful. I mean, it's just milk. We can always buy more. This has caused Hannah to ask if she can borrow a bit of milk every time she wants to drink a coffee with us. And Sasha says yes, most times. But when she decides Hannah has had enough milk, she says she's almost running out, which is a lie. A few days ago, before Sasha was about to come back from her father, my wife and I bought the groceries and I put the milk on the fridge. Then Sasha came and attempted to take it to her room and I said that she wasn't allowed to do it because it was for the whole house. So she had to leave it there. She didn't say anything and just went to her room. And about 5 to 6 hours after that, Sasha's dad pulled over and bought her a gallon and told us that we didn't had to buy any more lactose-free milk for Sasha since he'll be taking care of it from now on. But that my son's girlfriends wasn't allowed to have any. So we had to provide for her if we wanted to. My wife is mad. She said we should have let Sasha have her own milk and bought another for when Hannah is here. Even if it's not as expensive. But I think Sasha is being a brat. Am I the antagonist? Comment by Ewok Cafe. You are the antagonist. The problem is that you weren't buying more. Sasha and her mom were proactively trying to solve the issue by suggesting getting more. Or protecting her special supply. But you can't let her have her one special thing. You're the one who cultivated the scarcity mentality in her. She wouldn't care if she had to share if it didn't mean she sometimes had to go without. Why not get a gallon? Why not get 2 gallons? So why let Hannah drink it all? So you mind getting expensive milk for Sasha but not for Hannah? Throughout this post you're communicating that Hannah, who isn't part of the family, is more important to you than Sasha is. You mean this. That's the message you are sending. Final point. There's a lot of gross lactose-free milks. Acting as if it's an equivalence is like serving beef hot dogs for dinner and calling it steak because they're both made of cow. Is giving away your stepdaughter's stuff to your son's girlfriend really the hill you're going to die on? Comment by Shiramo Male 4. You are the antagonist. Why haven't you asked Hannah to buy some milk? Why have you only told Sasha to buy her own? Hannah is basically a roommate who contributes nothing at this point while this is actually Sasha's home. Your wife made a decision for her child and you undermined her and created an issue between her and her ex. Comment by M Male 172. You are the antagonist. Sasha lives at your house. Even if it is part-time. Hannah doesn't. Either buy Hannah her own milk. Or stop trying to police how Sasha protects her supply. Our next story is from Throw Away Grumpy Cats. Am I the antagonist for laughing at my brother-in-law's income? I, 35 female, met my husband R, 35 male, about 12 years ago. He was junior engineer at the time. But he was perceptive, considerate, funny and just overall my ideal guy. The only thing I didn't like was the way he and his brother P, now 38 male, interacted. P loves to talk about how successful he and his friends were. And undermines R's accomplishments as, that's good for your age. R overlooks it because he wants to be supportive of his brother. At the time I wanted to say something about P's arrogance. Since not only was I not impressed by his income. It's not a secret that P is noticeably uglier, inside and out, than his younger brother. I didn't because R preferred I let it be. P continues to do this for the next 12 years. I've tried hinting that we're all doing well and this is an awkward topic. But P brushed it off with patronizing sayings like, you'll get there. Fast forward to now. We're all married with children. 2 weeks ago. Wife and son dropped by for a visit since P was on a business trip. Within a couple hours, P starts bragging about his recent raise. He's finally broken $XOOK/year. And his wife will be going for a promotion that will land her around $YOOK/year. R was just as supportive as he usually is. But then P goes, you'll get there eventually. Our son, who was playing nearby with P's son, stopped and asked if that's a lot. P's son said, yeah. Duh, and I said, no. P then laughed and told me not to set too high of an expectation for my children. So, and this is where I might have been I laughed and said, if you must know, $XOOK is what we paid in taxes last year. P and his wife went silent. And R tried to change the subject. Then P suggested that we should get a new accountant because that's way too much for taxes. I lost my patience and asked him how much he thought our job titles should pay in taxes. Or if he was still under the impression that his little brother is an entry-level engineer. Admittedly, it was not my best moment. But I really disliked him for trying to put down my husband in front of my son. After they left, I got a text from P about how I owe him an apology for embarrassing him in front of his son. I told him I will not. But I'm happy to never speak of income again if he will stop bringing it up in front of my son. R agrees with me but asks as a favor to let P talk in the future as long as it's not in front of the kids. He says his brother has some self-esteem issues. And if it makes P feel better to pretend he's more successful than R. R is okay with it. I really don't see the need to keep babysitting an almost 40-year-old man's ego. And frankly, I don't want him anywhere near my son. But as I don't have a sibling with a self-esteem issue, I don't know if I'm overreacting. Am I the antagonist? Edit. Thanks for the feedback everyone. This was really helpful in giving both me and my husband some perspective. He's going to chat with his brother about 1, not being kids anymore. And 2, setting good examples for our sons. Also, for the folks wondering, it seems the reason for their dynamic is growing up. P had some social adjustment issues. So their mom had asked R to look after his brother. So despite being the younger brother, apparently R just got in the habit of looking after P. Odd, but given mother-in-law is the least confrontational person I've met. Not too surprising. Finally, for the folks who asked, no, we, self, husband, P plus wife, are middle class/upper middle class. Not rich. By our city's standard. Some coastal cities are just really expensive. A lot of 200K plus families here are living paycheck to paycheck. Comment by Kitchen Potential 243. Not the antagonist. You are super patient 12 years. I wouldn't have lasted one. Comment by T Rexona Bike. Not the antagonist at all. It sounds like brother-in-law is getting worse over time. And that's probably because no one shut down his behavior before. Better late than never. You shut that shit down. Don't apologize. And if he doesn't see the problems with his behavior, tell him not to worry. He'll get there eventually. Comment by Ellie Macaus 19. Not the antagonist. Gosh. What a headache. P sounds like an absolute wanker, and good on you for pointing out that you and your husband are not the hopeless couple he thinks you are. It sounds to me like you handled this situation appropriately. Our next story is from Throra 4,977,575. Am I the antagonist for refusing to pay for my boyfriend's son Cherie? Let me explain myself please. Read till end. I, female 32, met my boyfriend, male 36, 3 months ago at the airport of the new city I moved in. He's a single dad of 2 kids, 6 and 12. I never met them, not yet, but I saw pictures of them. He says it's early for his kids to meet me. It's for their mental health and I respect that. I do send them, a bit Costa, gifts every weekend, and my boyfriend assured me that he will tell them eventually where these gifts are coming from. Anyways, he didn't call nor reply to my texts for a whole week. He then contacted me saying his kid was in the hospital for an injury. I felt bad for him. I afford to visit, but he said there was no need for me to do this, but suggested I send gifts instead as a way to cheer him up. He later called me saying was busy all day trying to come up with money to pay for his son's surgery. We talked some, then he asked if I could lend him $5,000 to help pay for the surgery. I have to say that I was caught off guard, but he said that he felt so heavy making this request but had no one else willing to help but me. Thing is, I worked hard to save up the money that's in my account, and I don't feel comfortable letting go of $5,000 all at once. He said it's fine if I don't feel comfortable, but then started bringing it up saying he's in dire need of help and the surgery needed to happen next week under doctor's recommendation. I started feeling pressured, but he promised that he'll have me meet his son and other son right after he gets done with the surgery, which is great, but again the money is a lot. $5,000 is a lot of money. I refused eventually, and he got upset with me and kept on about how cruel I was and how little I care about his kids and him, but I swore it wasn't like this, but he hung up on me saying he needed to get some fresh air. Later, he sent me a photo of his son's arm with IV drip attached to it. I cried when I saw it and I called him, but he did not reply. I'm still refusing to pay, but a friend of mine says I should do it and have some sort of contract in place to ensure I get the money back. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to pay? Edited to add, I've seen his kid's arm picture. I'm pretty certain it's real. But I've been thinking of doing a surprise visit to the hospital or ask around to see if his story was valid. Still refusing to pay. Edited to add, no. I already confirmed that he's a single dad of it. I did my own investigation and it turned out that yes, he's a divorced single dad of 2. Comment by Lawn Orderly. Not the antagonist. Do not pay. You will never get the money back. You've been dating for 3 months. Send kids you've never met somewhat costly presents. And now he's hitting you up for $5,000? Red flags all over the place. How do you even know this is his kid he's sending you pictures of? Comment by the Sparkly Hellhound. Not the antagonist, but honey, this screams scam. I'm all for benefit of the doubt, but 3 months in does not warrant expensive gifts for children I have not met or $5,000 for a surgery on one of said children. Then suggested I send gifts instead. That tells you how he sees you. A cash cow. Comment by Chance Spring 4457. I'm with everyone else. This sounds like a scam. But even if it's not, you've only been together for 3 months. And you haven't even met these kids. It is not your responsibility to buy them gifts or pay for their medical needs. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to our Devil. See you in the next one.